Today we're creating this flash time effect in HITFILM. Welcome to Backyard Filmmaking. I'm your host Chris, and in today's episode we're creating an effect that has actually been requested a couple times in the comments section, and one that I think is really cool. That's right, this is a viewer requested tutorial. I'll probably have the comment pop up somewhere around here. This effect has been featured a couple times in the CW The Flash series, as well as in the DCEU films. This effect occurs when the Flash is moving so fast, everything else seems to be moving in slow-mo. Although this effect does center around the Flash, you can definitely apply these techniques to other characters, such as Quicksilver. Without further ado, let's get started. Here we are, the newly updated HITFILM Pro. This effect relies on, mainly, two elements. For one, the footage you film as the base for this effect is crucial. Although there are a lot more complicated ways of filming people frozen in time, I found that using a practical method of simply having your actors not move and pretend to be frozen is best. Perhaps there will be shaking a bit, but in general, and if your actors can restrain moving for the most part, the results are pretty good. The second portion that this effect relies on is the assets you can posit into your shot. For me, I chose to have one of my actors being shot in the head, and two firing their weapons. With this in mind, I gathered what I would need to create these effects. Because my actors are supposed to be frozen in time, all assets I used were simply PNGs or JPEGs. In many cases, I exported the frame of a moving asset. I did this for my blood squib pictures. I took two blood squib assets from productioncrate.com and then dropped each of them into their own composite shots. I then found what part of the effect I thought would work for what I was looking for. I then exported the frames for both of the effects as PNGs. I used the same technique to get smoke assets frozen in time as well. In terms of the muzzle flashes, all I really did was look up muzzle flash on black background or PNG and use them. To start this effect off, I made my footage into a composite shot and trimmed it down. As you can see by hiding my footage, I have placed in stills of all of my assets, including muzzle flashes with glow effects applied to them, additional glows via orange planes with masks, smoke, and the blood explosions. With my footage visible, you can see how these assets click into place. For one of the muzzle flash assets, I had to make it 3D in order for it to fit the orientation of my actor's prop gun. If nothing moves, or moves in front of your frozen assets, then this is really all you have to do in order to create the effect. However, as apparent in the introductory showcase of this effect, this is not my case. Not only does the gun prop of one of my actors move, but I move in front of several assets. Let's begin by addressing how I dealt with the moving gun prop. This was pretty simple. I could have tracked the gun barrel, but due to the minimal movement, I chose to simply keyframe the position and orientation of the asset. As I pushed the gun up in the footage, I adjusted the muzzle flash asset's position and orientation to better fit the gun. I did not have to go frame by frame. In this situation, I really only had to keyframe the position and orientation towards the start and end of the movement and make a few adjustments here and there as the gun continued to move upwards. By also changing the keyframes to smooth, this results in the flash moving with the gun when I move it in the footage. With the muzzle flash moving, I also had to move the glow I created using a plane. For this, all I really did was scrunch the glow upwards by keyframing the mask's path at the same time the flash moved upwards. I also had to adjust the position and orientation of the smoke asset that accompanied the gun. With that out of the way, I can explain how I dealt with myself passing in front of some of the assets in my shot, more specifically the blood squirts and the second muzzle flash. One word can really sum up what I did: rotoscope. This concept is one I'm becoming very familiar with as I continue to edit. If you don't know what it is, I can use one of the blood impacts as an example. As you can see, I've applied a mask to the asset, just as I pass in front of the asset. I've clicked the bubble next to the path option under the controls for the mask, and I've begun to create the illusion that I'm passing in front of it by masking around my head, and going frame by frame adjusting the mask in order to keep this illusion. This is what rotoscoping is, going frame by frame and modifying a mask in order to create a certain illusion. I use this technique in 3 cases during the creation of this effect. The first 2 were the blood assets, and the third was the second muzzle flash. The easiest part of this effect was, surprisingly, adding the lightning. For the main trail of lightning, all I did was take a production crate asset, slow it down, change its blend mode to add, then keyframe its position to stay with me throughout the clip. I also added some lightning accents by taking some more assets from production crate, altering their color to yellow by using the color vibrance effect, then changing their blend mode to add and sprinkling them about the clip. I added the camera movement by creating a new composite shot named camera movement, and dropping in my edited footage. I took the composite shot, scaled it up, and then keyframed its position to move in accordance to my movements. And that pretty much sums things up. As you can tell, this effect isn't too challenging if you film it correctly and know how to blend assets into your scene. After some color grading and additional sound effects, the effect was complete. And that's how you create the effect. If you ask me, it's a lot more simple than you'd think to create. It relies on a lot of practical aspects, such as your footage. Before I wrap up today's episode, I'd just like to say that I'm trying to upload as many tutorials as possible. However, if I don't get to do so, that's because we're working on a new short film. If you'd like updates on this short film, you can follow us on Instagram, which is at SmallTownCinemasOfficial. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Backyard Filmmaking. If you enjoyed, don't be afraid to hit that like button or even subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future videos, tell us in the comments below, and thanks for watching.